Welcome to the Good Contractor podcast. Guess what? It's season 2.
This guy can pilot our remote killdozer.
Your LLC is not approved without an Instagram handle, buddy.
I don't want anybody to get hurt, but
This is a podcast where we talk to contractors who do good work, and we explore why the trades are just so damn exciting. We were damn excited to have Kevin Choquette of Ravin Builders join us.
I'm a G, dude. I was just like, yo, I'm back out here.
We talked to Kevin about everything.
You dropped out of school. You got your GED. Your life had plenty of bumps and bruises.
Nobody just gets up in the morning and says, I want to be a heroin addict.
Did you go to jail?
Yeah, I have a record. There is so much opportunity in the trades, and like most people would be like, he can't do it, but he can. Everybody has a strength. Everybody has a weapon in like their own area. I could have never imagined that I was capable of this because I had been so incapable of so many things for so long. It sounds crazy, but I'm grateful for where I've landed.
It's 100% worth the listen. It's a whole new season. It's season 2 of the Good Contractor podcast, kicking it off with Kevin Choquette at Ravin Builders. Enjoy this episode and this season of the Good Contractor podcast. It is the Good Contractor podcast. We're back for another episode. Luke's here, which is exciting. I'm not doing like a solo episode, which he really saddled me with a lot during season 1. But those performed so well that,
just a chance to flex a little. Yeah. Oh, you left me alone, and those were the most popular episodes.
God, the downloads were just insane.
Cried myself to sleep.
Yeah, but we're still best friends, so that's good. This is the Good Contractor podcast. We're powered by CompanyCam, where we talk to contractors who do good work and explore why the trades are so damn exciting. And guess what? We're damn excited to talk to Kevin Choquette from Ravin Builders. Now, you and Luke go back a ways. I hear you let him operate heavy machinery. I think we need to get to that right off the bat. How nervous were you at a trade show, the Equip Expo, allowing Luke to operate anything we would call heavy machinery? Were there nerves about you getting injured just with him at the controls?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm a content creator, so, the worse it goes, the better it is for me.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to get hurt, but, sending a 12,000 pound excavator through the side of a display wall or something would be like the best case scenario. Wasn't fortunate.
Luke's
in
your
that
guy.
Fashion,
Oh no, he was hyping me up. Like, I didn't know at the time that he was hoping for catastrophe. Like, the more you know. But he's like, oh, dude, piece of kid, you played Halo before? Yeah, you're gonna be great, dude. Like, you're fine.
Was I wrong though?
No, I tell you what.
Easy business.
It's one of those things, though, where you watch someone who knows what they're doing. They make it look really easy. Oh, yeah. Like, I've seen a guy drive Bobcat around. I've seen someone run an excavator. And this was like one of those, this is a terrible description, but they're like the TikTok excavator. They're the one that like everything spins 360, the freaking arm is like.
Of those. You ran the steel wrist, the tilt rotator. Yeah.
It was so cool. But they had like the kid, some like, I don't know, 20-year-old kid running it. And it's like an extension. It's like a third arm for this kid. Like, I mean, he could probably use a napkin to like wipe his mustache off, which would come in handy for me. And then you get on there and you're like, jerking around, like, just don't kill someone.
Yeah. When he grows a mustache, it's going to be a couple more years.
He'll get there eventually.
So I'll shout him out. That's Axel with steel wrist. And he's been with the company for a few years. Like, he started as like an 18-year-old kid driving a pickup truck around for them to pick up stuff. And now he's their show operator, and he's like an absolute surgeon with that equipment. It's really cool.
Fun to watch.
Kind of a funny story. Last year, I was at the same show. I was in the Bobcat booth. They had a very similar track loader, like a skid steer track loader that I own. And they offered to let me drive it via the mobile app, which was a touchscreen phone. So it was a T76, which is like an 8,000 or 9,000 pound track excavator. And I was driving it around the yard using the phone. And my intrusive thoughts in that moment were like, this is wild that they're letting me do this, because there's people everywhere.
Yeah.
There's like a hay bale dividing this 9,000 pound machine on remote control and a mass of people. It was like that moment, I'm like, this is pretty crazy that they have no idea if I've even ever touched, a calculator. Never
No,
mind.
they saw you. Look at you. You can drive an excavator. You don't need a second glance.
I just
to be
got
like, this
blue
guy's
collar on the
operated
brow.
heavy
Yeah,
machinery.
yeah. He knows what to do.
This guy can pilot our remote killdozer. Hand him the phone.
So you just said one day, I'm walking out the front door of high school. I'm going to get this old GED thing. Can you tell that story? That's wild.
Yeah. I was a class clown, troublemaker. You know, I really was like, by the time I was 16, I was pretty much checked out. I had divided up the classes in high school to the ones that would make me do homework and the ones that would not. Because I'm a smart guy, right? Like I was probably one of the smartest kids in my class, but I just didn't want to do the work. Like I wasn't motivated by it. I wasn't interested in it. I was interested in other things, none of which they wanted to teach. So like math, for example, I'm very good at math. And I would get straight A's even if I just didn't do the homework because I would just ace everything they gave me. Like part of getting your GED at that time, I don't know what it is now, but you have to write an essay. And like when I had submitted all that work for the GED, like at 16, as soon as I turned 16, and they like ended up submitting that essay to like this national competition and like won like at some level of like,
wow.
of like an essay competition for high school. And I had failed freshman English 2 years in a row.
Unbelievable.
It's just like my team. If I just decided this is the way I learn, this is the only way I'm going to explain things, this is what everybody is going to do. If I pre-decided everybody's role in my company before I even met them, it would not be the company that it is. Everybody has a strength. Everybody is a weapon in like their own area. And I think for me, not being afraid of failure and be willing to step out of my comfort zone and like play with the big dogs and like create.
Did you have contractor experience? Like, were you working while you were still in high school? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like like I already had a job when this all went down. I was ready to go to work, you know?
Sure.
And I started getting opportunities and like I was getting paid like $200 to $300 a day to nail on cedar siding when I was 16 years old. Like I was making like real dough.
Here's an analogy. Some people love LeBron James. Some people hate LeBron James. Okay. Now, LeBron James got $50 million when he was like 16 or something. And the idea that he isn't literally living in a gutter is kind of a miracle to me. Like you were talking about making a couple $100 a day at 16. Like other kids are in high school, you're making money, 19, you're sort of like running crew, doing luxury job. Like I'm curious, like if that connects to this kind of like personal struggle element.
I think certainly like resources can play a role in the speed of a spiral, right? There's a common thread between me and all the other guys that I'm tight with that are in recovery. And really anybody I hear share about having a drug addiction. None of us felt like we fit in. None of us felt like we were ever going to be good enough. None of us felt like we could achieve what we wanted to achieve. We're always uncomfortable. And like drugs fix that. And like not for nothing, like we all know that like a couple of drinks will loosen you up in a social environment when you feel awkward, right? But for us, it was on a level where like we couldn't cope to the point where when we found that what seemed to be a solution, like and then it's just a spiral. When I was in that like 20-year-old range and I was working in that commercial job, there was this guy that they hire and he would do like demo work, kind of whatever needed to be done. He was an old salt fisherman, super awesome, beautiful guy. He said, 40 years around this business, you're the most talented guy that I've ever met. If you drink, you'll never have anything. He was right.
What did you think about that at the time? Do you remember, did that hit you at all?
I still remember it now. Like I didn't do anything about it then. Like I didn't start to try to get clean until like my late 20s. And for a long time, I held it together because I made a lot of money, right? It was just like the next vehicle, the next whatever I needed, like trying to keep my head above water. And then that slowly tapered to like, I can't keep my head above water. And then it became this vicious pattern where I was like, I was on the street. I was unemployable. My life got to a point where like I was better off in jail.
Did you go to jail?
Yeah, I have a record. I just was somebody that like you wouldn't want to be around. I was somebody that really wasn't capable anymore of like doing anything great or like accomplishing anything, like drugs had just taken over my life. I never try to get into debates about like whether it's a disease or if it's not, or like that people should just stop, or like shaming people for because nobody just gets up in the morning and says, I want to be a heroin addict. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Nope.
How long ago was this, and what was like the turning point? Like, because hey, you're not on the street, you're on one of the best podcasts in this space. Okay,
Elite.
So you have turned the corner. I've seen you getting yelled at for unfinished decks on TikTok. I mean, it's happening for you. Was there a moment when, not that everything changed, but when the trajectory changed, or when it like went? Like, what happened?
I mean, I was fortunate enough to like have some consequences that put me in a spot where I unwillingly received the benefits of not being on drugs for a few days, a couple of times. It's like an immeasurable commodity because I didn't really get clean to be a better person or to help other people. Like, I just wanted like whatever was happening to like, I was just looking for like a temporarily short solution or whatever, like just for like reduced pain. And then like got a taste of like the people. And like for me, like I just, I got guys that I got clean with that are like in my wedding, and like we, our kids are tight, and like we get together for football and, weddings and babies and like all the shit that really matters. We've done that together. Like my core crew is like dudes that are clean, dudes that are in the trades, and like dudes that like to catch tuna fish. You know what I mean? Like a couple of each. You know what I mean? But like those guys are like super important to me. And if I can say this, and I don't really, because I hate turning these into recovery meetings, but for me, two things. When I got clean, I could have never imagined that I was capable of this because I had been so incapable of so many things for so long. You have no idea what you're capable of when you've been reduced capacity for so much time.
1,000% true.
And then the other thing is, I really had no idea what that was going to look like, or how long it was going to last or whatever. And it just kind of turned into like a normal thing for me. Like you couldn't pay me $1 million to drink a beer right now.
Same. You
know what I mean?
And people find that so hard to believe, but I'm like, no, it's the last thing I would like to do.
Absolutely. You couldn't, I would give you a hand before I gave up what I have in life. And it's not even like this. And I'm pointing at like rough drywall, but like this is a couple 1,000 square foot space that I can do whatever the hell I want in. I can keep my boat in so we can work on it this year so we can get out to it. None of that exists anymore for me. You know what I mean? And just resources and my, having my family stand around me, and it's just for me. Here's the other side. It sounds crazy, but I'm grateful for where I've landed. I tell people all the time, like, you don't grow in the sun. Like you grow in the rain, in the snow, in the, like we aren't plants. Like we grow in the storm. When people are going through something and we talk about it, I'm like, yo, this is what makes you. You know what I mean? Like this is how you get better. You're being challenged. Like we talk about building the business and I say like, I'm an entrepreneurial spirit. I'm not scared of failure. Like, yo, I was dead. You know what I mean? Like, bring it. Like, we're worried about like not having enough projects to build. I figured out how to get high for 10 years. You know what I mean? I can figure out how to make a track loader payment.
What I love about your story is, and coming out the other side is, I love that when you were talking about it, I'd love for you to tell it about how Ravin Builders, like how this came to be. And the name is very cool. I love the story behind the name. It was a deck expo event, and it wasn't just that it was decks. It was the community of people. And you almost harkened back to it being one event that you said, I think I want to specialize down into decks because you had experience doing so much else. Could you talk about that?
So Raven stands for, my wife's name is Rachel. My name's Kevin. And the reason that is what the business is called is because I was working for a big conglomerate, kind of like miniature BlackRock type of company, right? Vanguard Junior. But so January 2020, I went and I got an LLC and I was running some stuff on the side. And then COVID hit and the moratorium on evictions happened. So we could no longer get these homes that people had just been living in for a decade without paying bills. Eventually, I had to lay off all the PMs. And I pretty much at that point was like a no-show job. I was like just doing I was just working for my company more than I was working for theirs. And that's when Ravin was like officially born. But the same thing, right, is I think I opened this company with like $5,000 or like maybe 10.
How'd you get your first jobs? Like when you left, like how were you?
I'm a G, dude. I was just like, yo, I'm back out here, because I've been like doing construction in Rhode Island for 20 years. Like I got some friends that are like GCs that are like, someone was like, hey, can you go frame? It was really back then, it was word of mouth. And that's a really good point to bring us to like where we are now. It was like 2021 or 2. I can't even remember when I had built like 5 decks that year. One of the manufacturers was like visiting a lumberyard and they were like, hey, you got to go check out this project. So these guys just like rolled up on my job and they were like, hey, you should enter this deck in NADRA. I was like, what's NADRA? And that was the North American Deck and Railing Association. And I ended up looking them up and I was like, oh, they have a trade show, the Deck Expo. And it's in Dallas in like a couple of months. Maybe I'll go. And that was when I kind of met a bunch of people like in the industry and was like, I've been in construction for 20 years. The outdoor living and decking industry is special. Special industry. The market, the manufacturers, the marketing, the association, the builders, the camaraderie and collaboration is really, really something else that I've never seen. You're not going to see that in roofing, Luke. Just saying, you're not, local roofers are not like,
oh yeah,
pushing each other up. No, they're fighting for leads. So I think in November, that was 3 years ago, that I said, let's do it. I'm going to niche down. And I had some help from someone who gave me some advice on marketing. And she said, it needs to be a company that says this deck, or whatever, like SEO friendly name. And I fought that. And I just changed it to like Ravin Builders from Ravin LLC. And now, like, I wish I took the advice, right? You can't be a word of mouth builder if you're only going to specialize in high quality outdoor living, like decks and patios, right? Like now I had to figure out how to market a company. And then I became a marketing major. It's crazy what you can learn on the internet, right?
Well, you accidentally taught yourself to be a YouTuber.
Yeah. And I was going to say, when did the content creation start to fit in with what you were doing?
Yeah. So then like I just got socials because you have to have socials to have a business, right? They check at the door before they let you in. If you have Facebook.
Your LLC is not approved without an Instagram handle, buddy.
Yeah. In order to get issued an EIN, I had to get the Twitter account. There was just one video that ended up like taking off. So
Which one was it?
It was a tooltip where I was explaining how to cut like bevels over 55 degrees. If you say needed like a 70-degree bevel, like if you were like cutting like jack rafter, like hip rafters or something like that has a really steep angle, or say you have like a slight angle on the rim of your deck and you're going to have these really sharp cuts on the end of your joist. If you need a 70, you cut a 20, then you square the saw and you put the saw flat face against the first cut. And it pretty much takes 20 and 90
plus
and
50
gives you
or
70,
whatever, yeah.
right? So is
that's
that
the math you were talking about?
And just the cut, yeah, like I'm holding the guard, like we're cowboys, right? And a lot of people weren't like, that's the reason that video went viral, because people commented, like everybody fucking commented. And that was 1 year after we were back at Deck Expo and I was picking up like 1,000 followers a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That was Instagram. Before that, I just had some random videos on TikTok. Like I probably have like 40,000 followers on TikTok. It's not a big like I don't spend any time on it. I don't reply to a lot of comments, and my DMs are mostly spam anyways. But like I had 20,000 followers on TikTok before Instagram. Like I think on Instagram I picked up like 1 follower yesterday. And I have 140,000. It is hard to grow,
Yeah.
but like it's like gambling. Like
Does
you just got to keep swinging,
Does it
Right.
help your local business? Like how much has it helped your actual Ravin Builders installing decks? Like
So did you see that project that we just built? The multi-level with the swim spa in it?
I have not. No, I haven't
Come on,
looked at
Luke.
Instagram
I've been
lately.
posting You're not even following?
I'm following. I was your
am.
one follower.
All right.
I deleted and added you yesterday.
Pull it up. Pull it up. Pull it up and take a look at this project. So this was a lead that I got off Instagram. The client works for a big tile supply company, and she saw our content where we were putting porcelain tile on another deck and absolutely must have had us we were the only option. And I declined the job. Then they came back a ways later and asked us again. So we went and did the job. This was a really good project for us. Probably one of the coolest projects we've ever built. I had parameters to meet in a wish list to check off, but like I had creative freedom. I was out, my favorite times are when me and my guys, and I'm like, what if we just, like do that? You know what I mean? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, but you're never right. Let's just do it. That's
You're never right.
But I found my client, like they were my people, and they found us through Instagram.
This is cool.
Follow back. I wasn't following you. I apologize.
I appreciate it. So two in the last 24 hours.
Wow, Luke. Wow.
Hey, when I met you in the world, I followed you on TikTok.
There's also a really cool edit that we did in there. I had this new camera guy, and we figured out how to like drop the deck out of the sky and have it smash into the old one.
Yeah, that's the one I saw. That is so cool.
Yeah, dude. Creative freedom. And those are my people. And that came from social. So that's starting to happen now. Like I can only really do like 2 or 3 of those really like crazy projects a year. Yeah. And then I need to infill like some smaller ones that let us move schedules and like make money. We used to die on the big ones. Now we're almost better off just doing like more of those,
One of the things I wanted to finish with was how passionate you are about the trades in general and people getting into it, but specifically your team. You're talking about all the different backgrounds of all the people. Yeah. Like,
don't let me forget. Don't let me forget. Let me plug my new role.
Yes,
I'm a board of directors member for the Young Craftsman Foundation.
Let's go.
And we just got our 5013C stat. What is it? 501c3 status. Yep. Yeah. So nice. We got that.
Congrats. And, that's awesome.
And we're going to supply tools to boys and girls entering the trades from vocational school. So that's kicking off. We're going to do our first deliv in June. I'll be reaching out to you, Luke, about that one.
That's awesome. That is so cool, man.
I don't even think it's only youth, but like, there's been studies where like a prison system like instituted vocational training to their inmates, and their regentrification rate went from like 90% to like 17% or something like that. Like the numbers, like it doesn't even seem real. There is so much opportunity in the trades, and like there's so many people that most people would be like, he can't do it, but he can, or they don't give him the opportunity. And I think that's even true for like people that are like in roles in companies where like, yo, that dude could do this if you have the right mindset to teach.
Well, I will say this, Kevin. Luke spends a lot of time telling me what I can't do.
Well, you got to
I try to believe the best in people. But
remember when I said if you want to like weaponize your team, you have to put them in the right roles?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he just knows that you're the one that's going to take him to the top if you're in this role. That's all.
Bring me with you, John.
No,
but I mean,
to the moon.
You dropped out of school. You got your GED. You went into this trade. I mean, your life had plenty of bumps and bruises, but like, here you are now, not just making great products for people, like building awesome decks, but then putting that stuff on the internet. And there's this whole interesting through line of how compelling this stuff is on social media. People cleaning things, people building things, people like, I think that it is raising the status of a lot of these jobs, but it's also a thing that I think people don't really know of as an option, and they definitely don't know of the experience of it. Like, it is different than like school. Like when you were talking about being kind of like good at math, but you don't really care. Building things, at the end of the day, you like step back, you can see that it was done. It's not being judged on like whether someone liked your essay or whether you can explain the grammar. It's like, does it hold weight? Does it meet code? Does it look good? Does it actually work? There's nothing structurally in your way from making a great career for yourself in the trades, whether it's plumbing or decks or HVAC, or like we've talked to all sorts of people all across the board. Are they all going to become as YouTube famous and gracing my Instagram as Kevin the French Canadian? Maybe not. But you can do really well.
Kevin, we always finish with this. In your mind, we always ask people to define what makes a good contractor. How would you define what makes a good contractor?
The good contractors are always looking to learn. You know, from a guy that gets sometimes hundreds or thousands of comments or whatever on content, I can pretty much tell you just by somebody's attitude if they're talented or not.
Well, that's good.
A learning attitude.
Seriously, you can tell that they're not interested in learning, that they don't actually know what's going on. And that's the type of person that says, I have 40 years experience. I can build anything. I built 1 million houses. I've been doing this since I was 7 years old. And they show up and they don't know how to read a tape measure.
It sounds like a humility, like the idea that like, yeah, hey, there's always more to learn. And if you think that you know it all, then you're not going to be near the front of the next thing that's happening.
I love trolling the haters, right? And what I have to say is like out of 100,000 negative comments that I've ever gotten on my socials, I bet you like 2 of those people can actually hold a candle to what we build. For some reason, it's like a pretty common thread that the people that are good, quality, talented, smart, and show up, all they do is lift other people up. And the people that aren't capable throw shade.
Enragement tends to lead to engagement, as they say, right?
Let's go. Let's go. You know,
I'll have to go delete those comments I wrote.
You know, that's what I use the internet for, is like learning.
Yeah.
I like socializing and I like learning. That's what I do.
You know what? It's the coolest thing Luke said when I first started working at CompanyCam. He's like, you can learn anything you want to if you want to take the time to do it. We do have that luxury. As much bullshit as there is all over the internet and missing this and misinformation that, there's also this huge library of amazing crap that you can sit down and learn if you want to take the time to do it. And it's like, we've never had it so close to our fingertips. And I think that's what, like
they're giving it away for free.
They're giving it away for free, like
Even
this
Kevin
podcast. Even Kevin is. Kevin, man,
you're the man.
We owe you big
Appreciate
time.
you
Thank
guys.
you so much for joining us.
Fantastic. Luke, you going to IBS?
When is it?
We're going to have a big team there.
End of February. I might be there, Kevin. So I will let you know.
I might too. I don't know. I have no plans, but hey,
you guys
I'm
can
open.
come see the booth.
I haven't been to Vegas this year.
I
don't know if I went to Vegas last year.
You got to be there. Everybody's going to be there. CompanyCam booth is the place to be at IBS. Everybody's going to be there.
Oh, if you're going to be at my booth, then I think I'm going to have to be there.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Kevin, you're the man.
Kevin,
I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
The Good Contractor podcast is powered by CompanyCam.
CompanyCam is an app built to help contractors organize their with multiple people at multiple locations snapping hundreds of photos. Organizing them can become a full-time job. That's where CompanyCam comes in. Sign up today to get your team started.